entire life, he had been searching for answers in the outside world, believing that success, relationships, or external achievements would bring him peace. But the monk had just shown him a truth so simple, yet so easily overlooked. The chaos was never out there. It was within. The monk walked slowly around the pond, his voice calm, yet powerful. Your mind is no different from this water. It is always moving, always disturbed by thoughts, fears, and desires. You do not see the world as it truly is. You see it through the filter of your own emotions. Rama swallowed hard. He thought about the times he had felt anxious about the future, trapped in memories of the past, or overwhelmed by emotions he couldn't control. How often had he mistaken his own thoughts for reality? The monk continued. Most people go through life never questioning their own mind. They believe every thought, react to every emotion, and let their minds control them instead of mastering it themselves. That is why they suffer. That is why they feel lost. Rama took a deep breath. He knew the monk was right. He had spent his entire life being tossed around by his thoughts, never once stopping to question if they were even true. But Rama hesitated. How do I change it? How do I make my mind still? The monk's eyes gleamed with wisdom. There is a way, a path that has been followed for thousands of years, a path that will help you see clearly and find peace. He turned to Rama with a knowing smile. The mind is like a garden. It can grow either weeds or flowers. Whatever you feed will grow stronger. Rama felt something shift deep inside him. If his suffering came from within, then so did his freedom. The monk placed a hand on his shoulder. There are 10 ancient teachings that will change the way you think, the way you feel, and the way you see the world. Learn them, apply them, and your mind will become as clear as the still water in this pond. Rama nodded, his heart pounding with anticipation. I'm ready. The monk smiled. Then let us begin. The monk led Rama back to the monastery, where the evening sun cast long golden shadows across the stone floor. The air smelled of burning incense. A quiet, sacred stillness surrounded them. The monk motioned for Rama to sit. Before we begin, you must understand the first and most important teaching. Without this, your mind will always remain restless. Rama sat cross-legged, eager but uncertain. What is it? The monk closed his eyes and inhaled deeply. Meditation, the art of silencing the mind. Rama frowned. I've heard of meditation before, but I don't understand how simply sitting can change anything. The monk smiled. Tell me, if the water in the pond is disturbed, can you force it to become still by moving it more? Rama shook his head. No, that would only make it worse. Exactly, the monk said. And yet, that is what most people do with their minds. When they feel anxious, they fight their anxiety. When they feel sad, they try to suppress it. But in doing so, they only create more turbulence. The key is to simply let go, to allow the mind to settle on its own. Rama was silent. The monk continued. Meditation is not about controlling the mind. It is about observing it. When you meditate, you begin to see your thoughts as just that. Thoughts. They come and go like clouds in the sky. You are not your thoughts. You are the one watching them. Rama closed his eyes and listened. For thousands of years, the monk continued, meditation has been the path to mental clarity and inner peace. It reduces stress, quiets fear, and allows you to see the world without the distortion of emotions. When you master meditation, you master yourself. Rama took a deep breath. How do I begin? The monk nodded approvingly. Start small. 5 minutes a day. Close your eyes. Focus on your breath. Inhale. Exhale. Nothing else. Your mind will wander, but that is normal. Simply notice it and return to your breath. Do this every day, and you will begin to feel a shift. A deep, unshakable calmness growing within you. Rama inhaled slowly, feeling the air fill his lungs. For the first time in a long time, his mind was quiet. The storm inside him began to fade. He opened his eyes and met the monk's gaze. I understand now. The monk smiled. Good. But this is only the beginning. There is more to learn, and the next lesson is just as important. Rama straightened his posture, ready for what was to come. Tell me. The monk's eyes gleamed with wisdom. The next step is mindfulness. The monastery was quiet, except for the distant rustling of leaves and the rhythmic sound of wind chimes swaying in the breeze. Rama sat before the monk, his mind still lingering in the stillness he had just experienced through meditation. But something inside him felt unsettled. Master, Rama said hesitantly, even if I meditate, I still feel distracted throughout the day. My mind jumps between the past and the future. I worry about things that haven't happened. I replay old memories over and over again. How do I stop this? The monk nodded knowingly. That, he said, is because your mind is never here. It is trapped in what was or what might be. But peace can only be found in one place. Rama leaned in. Where? The monk raised his hand and pointed to the ground beneath them. Right here, right now. Rama frowned. But how do I keep my mind here? Life is full of distractions. The monk smiled and stood up. Come, he said. He led Rama outside, where a small garden of vibrant flowers bloomed under the golden sun. The monk bent down and plucked a single flower, holding it up between his fingers. Look at this flower, he said. Observe its color, its shape, the way the petals curve so delicately. Rama stared at the flower. At first, it seemed like an ordinary bloom, but as he focused, he noticed the intricate details, the tiny veins running through each petal, the way the light danced upon its surface. He realized that in all his years, he had never really looked at a flower before. The monk spoke softly. When you give something your full attention, you enter the present moment. And in the present moment, there is no fear, no regret, no anxiety, only peace. Rama felt something shift inside him. Most people, the monk continued, do not truly experience life. They eat while thinking about work. They walk while lost in thought. Their bodies are here, but their minds are elsewhere. That is why they suffer. Rama nodded slowly. So mindfulness means being fully present in everything I do? Yes, the monk said. Whether you are eating, walking, or even breathing, be fully aware. Notice the taste of your food. Feel the earth beneath your feet. Listen to the wind as it moves through the trees. When you train your mind to be present, every moment becomes sacred. Rama closed his eyes and inhaled deeply. He could hear the gentle rustling of leaves, the distant chirping of birds, the warmth of the sun on his skin. It was as if he was truly alive for the first time. He opened his eyes and looked at the monk with newfound understanding. I think I see now. My mind has always been lost in illusions, but the present moment, this is real. The monk smiled. Exactly. When you master mindfulness, life stops feeling like a race and starts feeling like a gift. Rama felt lighter. His thoughts were no longer pulling him in every direction. For the first time, he felt deeply connected to the world around him. But the monk was not finished. He placed a hand on Rama's shoulder and said, "Now that you have learned to be present, there is something even more powerful you must understand." Rama met his gaze. "What is it?" The monk's voice was soft, yet filled with deep wisdom. Compassion. Rama followed the monk back into the monastery, his mind still absorbing the power of mindfulness. He had begun to understand how to quiet his thoughts, how to bring himself into the present moment. But there was something else, something deeper that weighed on his heart. "Master," Rama said quietly, "I have spent so much time fighting my own mind, battling my emotions, trying to find peace within myself. But even when I feel calm, the world around me still feels painful. I see suffering everywhere. People are angry, cruel, and lost. How do I find peace in a world so filled with pain?" The monk studied him for a long moment, then smiled. "Come with me." They walked through the monastery until they reached a small village. There, Rama saw a woman sitting alone, her face filled with sorrow. Her hands clutched a small bundle of cloth, her body trembling as if she carried a weight too heavy to bear. Rama's heart tightened. What happened to her? The monk sighed. She lost her only child, and now she believes she has lost everything. Rama swallowed hard. He wanted to help her, to say something, anything that would ease her pain, but no words came. He turned to the monk helplessly. What can I do? The monk placed a hand on his shoulder. Just be here. Feel her sorrow. Do not run from it. Do not judge it. Simply let your heart open. Rama hesitated, then slowly approached the woman. He knelt beside her, unsure of what to say. But as he looked into her eyes, he felt something shift inside him. He didn't need to speak. He simply sat with her, allowed her pain to be seen. And then something incredible happened. The woman looked up at him, her eyes filled with tears, and for the first time, she let them fall. The monk's voice was gentle behind him. That is compassion. Rama turned. The world is filled with suffering, the monk said. But suffering does not grow from pain alone. It grows from loneliness, from feeling unseen, unheard, unloved. Most people turn away from suffering because they fear it will consume them. But the truth is, when you open your heart to another's pain, you do not drown in it. You heal it. Rama felt something warm in his chest. So, compassion is not just feeling sorry for someone? No, the monk said firmly. Compassion is not pity. It is connection. It is the understanding that all beings suffer, just as you do, that their pain is not separate from yours. When you act with compassion, you are not just healing others, you are healing yourself. Rama thought back to his own pain, his own struggles. He had spent so long trapped in his own mind, believing he was alone. But he wasn't. Everyone carried their own burdens, their own silent battles. And in that moment, he understood. The more he gave love, the more love would fill his own heart. The monk smiled. There is a saying, if you want to be happy, practice compassion. If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. Rama felt something shift inside him, a deep, unshakable warmth. He had spent his life searching for peace, and yet, perhaps the greatest peace came not from looking inward, but from reaching out. He turned to the monk, his eyes clear with understanding. I think I see now. The more love I give, the more I will receive. The monk nodded. Yes, but there is something else you must learn. Something just as important as compassion. Rama's brows furrowed. What is it? The monk's voice was quiet, but firm. Letting go. Rama and the monk walked in silence, their path leading them away from the village and back toward the quiet solitude of the monastery. The air was cool, the sun beginning to sink below the horizon, painting the sky in soft hues of orange and gold. Rama felt lighter than he had in years, his heart touched by the power of compassion. But something still troubled him. "Master," he said at last, "I understand now that compassion can heal suffering. But what about the suffering that comes from within? The pain of losing something or someone you love? How do you find peace when something precious is taken from you?" The monk stopped walking. For a moment, he simply looked at Rama, his face unreadable. Then he bent down and picked up a small stone from the ground. He held it out. "Take this," he said. Rama reached for it, and as soon as it was in his hand, the monk spoke again. "Now hold it as tightly as you can." Rama gripped the stone, his fingers closing around it with all his strength. "Tighter," the monk instructed. "Do not let go." Rama clenched his fist until his hand ached. The edges of the stone dug into his skin. The longer he held it, the more uncomfortable it became. He shifted his stance, but no matter how he moved, the pain did not lessen. The monk watched him for a long moment, then simply said, "Now, release it." Rama hesitated. Then, slowly, he opened his fingers. The stone tumbled to the ground. At that moment, a wave of relief flooded through his hand. The tension disappeared. The monk smiled. "That is what letting go feels like." Rama stared at the stone lying harmlessly on the earth. "But Master," he said slowly, "what if it's not just a stone? What if it's something important? A person, a dream, a part of myself?" The monk nodded. "That is the very reason people suffer. They hold on too tightly, to relationships, to expectations, to things they cannot control. But clinging does not protect you. It only creates pain." Rama looked at his palm, red where the stone had pressed against it. He thought of all the times he had refused to let go, of anger, of regrets, of memories that no longer served him. He had believed that holding on would keep him safe. But in truth, it had only trapped him. The monk continued, "Life is constantly changing. Everything you love, everything you know, will one day transform or fade away. This is the nature of existence. And yet, people resist it. They fear loss. They fear change. But the more you resist, the more you suffer." Rama felt something shift inside him. "So, if I let go, I will find peace?" The monk smiled. "Letting go does not mean you stop loving. It does not mean you do not care. It simply means you accept the impermanence of all things. You do not try to force life to be something it is not. You allow it to be as it is." Rama took a deep breath. For so long, he had fought against reality, wishing things could be different. But now, he saw the truth. Peace was not found in control. Peace was found in surrender. The monk turned and began walking again. Rama followed, feeling a strange sense of lightness, as if a weight he had carried for years had finally lifted. But just as he was beginning to understand the power of letting go, the monk spoke again. "There is still one more thing you must learn," he said. "Even if you master meditation, mindfulness, compassion, and letting go, there is something else that will always test you." Rama furrowed his brow. "What is it?" The monk glanced at him with a knowing smile. "Your emotions." The night had fallen by the time Rama and the monk returned to the monastery. A soft breeze stirred the lanterns, casting flickering shadows on the ancient stone walls. Rama felt lighter after learning about the power of letting go, but he knew there was still more to understand.